And welcome to The Verdict. Kent Meyers with Mick Cornett, joining you again this Sunday morning for another version of The Verdict. Mick, how you been?
I've been good. Good morning, Kent. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you.
How was your vacation?
Restful, and just kind of drove around the country and pretended I knew where I was going and what I was going to do when I got there. It was just wonderful to get away.
Well, we're glad you made it back.
Yeah, me too.
We've got an old friend coming on today, Jim Priest.
Yes, Jim's been on with us in a few different stages of his professional career, and he's got some exciting things going on now at Goodwill. Should be a good show.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So let's go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll introduce you once again to Jim Priest. You're watching The Verdict.
During my time as Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of the Interior, I witnessed a fundamental transformation in the government-to-government relationship between tribes and the United States. It has really been a special time when a lot of past disputes have been addressed. What I hope is that history has turned a corner with Indian tribes. My name's Kevin Washburn, and I'm a professor of law at the University of New Mexico School of Law, and I'm a Chickasaw. I always joke that I don't know why anybody's a tax lawyer, but I know why I'm an Indian law lawyer. The joy of my life is teaching students. It really is a lot of fun teaching young people, sending them out in the world to help take care of their communities. And that's what we try to do. And federal Indian law is a powerful force for that because the law often is on the tribe's side. My Chickasaw lineage comes from my mother's side of the family. She was a very strong, powerful woman. I know she had some rough times, but there's such a tremendous sense of pride now because we have really come a long way since those times. The Chickasaw Nation has always been about helping people to help themselves and help ensure that the community remains strong. And today, it's Chickasaws taking care of Chickasaws. I don't look like a Native American necessarily, but I am a full citizen of the Chickasaw Nation, and I'm very proud of that. The unconquered and unconquerable Chickasaw Nation is part of my bloodstream.
See more stories about the Chickasaw people at profilesofA.nation.com.
One of the best kept secrets about the post 9/11 GI Bill benefit is that it can be used at a trade school or a technical school, and it doesn't have to be used at a university or college. These are benefits that the veterans have earned through their service, and they should take advantage of it.
Veterans really need to understand that there are many resources offered by the Oklahoma Department of Veteran Affairs. They're there to help you find the right school for you, the school that will help you and your family make great steps into your future.
And welcome back. Kent Meyers with Mick Cornett, joining you for another version of The Verdict. And as I indicated in the open, our guest today, we are really pleased to welcome back for his fourth appearance on The Verdict, Jim Priest. Jim is CEO of Goodwill Industries of Central Oklahoma. He's had a very interesting career up to this point. I'm sure it'll continue that way. He was a trial lawyer for 34 years. He's an author, a speaker, and he's also an ordained minister. He writes a weekly column for the Oklahoman and now runs Goodwill of Central Oklahoma. Jim, really glad to have you.
Hey, good morning, Mick, and good morning, Kent. Thank you for having me on.
Jim, you've been in this position for less than a year. What led you to decide to take the helm of Goodwill, Oklahoma?
Well, when I was a lawyer, I had represented Goodwill, so I had some familiarity with the organization. And when I found out that they were seeking a new CEO, I thought this is an operation and a mission that I can really buy into. My career has been focused, not exclusively, but a lot on helping vulnerable people and trying to address their needs. And we help vulnerable people. Our mission is to help people overcome challenges to employment and transform their lives through the power of work. Yeah. So when I learned about this opportunity, I thought, hopefully they will think that I'm a viable candidate and I'll get an opportunity to serve the community.
And lo and behold, here comes the COVID virus, and it changes everyone who has a position of authority. So how has that changed the day-to-day operations over at Goodwill?
Well, certainly when I came on board, it really threw us for a curve, or threw me for a curve. I started in early March, and within about 10 days, we got the order from the governor to shut down all non-essential services. Some Goodwills across the country evaluated whether they could be described as an essential service. I didn't think we fit that category, and so we prepared to shut down our operations. And so we had to close our 25 stores at that point and 18 donation centers and furlough about 600 employees. And so it really threw me a little bit off the stride that I was hoping to hit as I came on board. I had all these plans to get out, meet all the people, visit all the stores. I was only able to get a part way down that road before we had to shut things down. But in many ways, I kind of jokingly say, it's kind of a good way to start with an organization because nobody can second guess you. Everybody's trying to figure this thing out as we go along. But it really called on all of us to exercise our creativity and teamwork and collaboration. And I was so impressed with the resiliency and the positivity of the workforce. And I tried to stay in contact with them through videos every week and keep them updated as they were on furlough. We lost about $3.6 million from being shut down during that time period. So we're digging out of a financial hole. But we feel very optimistic about what the future holds for us.
Jim, tell our viewers a little bit about Goodwill. You're getting ready to celebrate a big anniversary here next year. Can you tell us a little bit about your history, not simply your district, but the organization as a whole?
Yeah, it's a fascinating story. In 1902, a gentleman by the name of Edgar Helms, who was a United Methodist minister, wanted to go to India as a missionary, but his superior said, no, we need you to go to Boston, to go into the slums of Boston and pastor a church there. And he was there not very long before he realized these folks need more than just the gospel. They need the gospel plus they need help in their daily lives with their material needs. And so he began going to the more wealthy sections of Boston and asking people for donated goods, some of them needing repair, and then he would bring them back and he would put people to work repairing those items, giving them jobs, and then sometimes giving them the clothes that were donated. And that was the idea that began Goodwill back in 1902. We got our local start here in 1936. And as I've been able to piece together the history, it really started with E.K. Gaylord, who heard Mr. Helms speak at a Rotary meeting in 1935 and decided we need that kind of organization here. And think about it, that was in the middle of the Depression. So there were a lot of people with needs. And Mr. Gaylord got together a group of people, including folks from the Chamber of Commerce. And in 1936, we were incorporated and we were off and running.
So I guess the Oklahoma, the central Oklahoma region was first in Oklahoma?
It was. In fact, it was the only one to begin with. And currently we have 3 Goodwills that serve different parts of Oklahoma. We serve the central part of Oklahoma, about 37 counties. Then there's a Goodwill located in Tulsa and another one located in Lawton.
Yeah. Jim, you mentioned having to shut down so much of your facilities when the COVID virus hit. what stage are you all at today? Are you fully back or are you partially back? What are we doing here in November?
Yeah, we are fully back, and we were able to reopen fairly quickly. Again, both our donors, people in the community that donate to us, as well as our employees, pulled together. Even when we were shut down, we had some folks wanting to leave us donations. I think a lot of folks were at home cleaning out their closets. I'll take this down to the Goodwill store. So I had to do some social media messaging to tell people, hang on to those donations, bring them in when we're back open. And for the most part, the community responded in a very positive way. We did have some folks continue to leave, and we dealt with that. We had some folks circulating through the community to make sure that donations weren't accumulating on the front steps of the stores. But all across our region, we go from Stillwater in the north to Ardmore in the south, Shawnee in the east, over to Mustang in the west, and then a lot of stores in the metro area. And all of them are back open. Our attended donation centers are back open, and we're fully operational.
Jim, you have a phrase that you use in your business, I know, but I'd like for you to tell our viewers about it. Goodwill is more than a store. What's that mean?
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people, and I've said this in a number of speeches, we have a very well recognized brand. The logo, the smiling G, that is the Goodwill logo. People know that. They can tell you what it stands for, and they think thrift stores. That's what we're known for. And that is a large part of what we do, but that's not all we do. We provide transformative work in people's lives in a variety of ways. And so I'm trying to make sure we tell our message well in the community so people are fully educated, not just about the Goodwill logo, but about all the services we provide, for example, to homeless veterans. We have a big program where we house homeless veterans, get them in temporary housing off the streets, and then transfer them to permanent housing. And just as an example, in the month of July, we were able to house 100 homeless vets just in that month alone. A tremendous effort by our staff and collaborative partners like the Homeless Alliance. So we do things like that. We provide community service opportunities for people who have mandated community service through the court systems. We're a second chance employer. And so we provide work opportunities in our stores, in our warehouse, in our outlet store, for people that maybe need that first foot up on the rung of success. And we're in the people development business. We want to transform their lives. And so not just giving them a job and a paycheck, which is a wonderful thing and much needed, but also to provide meaningful work, because work means so much to us. It's where we spend the majority of our hours every week, and it has an impact on who we are and on our families.
Jim, excuse me for interrupting you. We want to come back to that thought right after a break, but we've got to make our sponsors happy here for a short break. You're visiting with Jim Priest. This is Kent Meyers and Mick Cornett. You're watching The Verdict, but we'll be right back with Jim.
OU Law has a history and heritage that are unparalleled. At the University of Oklahoma College of Law, we empower our students to pursue the career of their dreams. We have the highest U.S. News ranking ever achieved by an Oklahoma law school. We are the first law school in the country to launch a college-wide digital initiative. And this year, our competition teams rank number 2 in the nation. OU Law, generations of excellence, limitless possibilities.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back to the Verdict. Kent Meyers and Mick Cornett visiting with Jim Priest this morning. Mick, where would you like to go from here?
I'd like to get back to a subject Jim was discussing before we broke on the Veterans Homeless mission. And Jim, you were mentioning some of the success that you're having there. Can you expand on what the program's about and what y'all are doing?
Yeah, it's a federal program, a grant program that we acquired a number of years ago. And one of the things that when I first came here, I thought, well, how does this fit? Because we're an employment incubation center, so to speak. We develop people, we find jobs for people through the Job Connection Center. We train them and upskill them through the Goodwill Career Pathway Institute. So how does this homeless program fit in with that? And when, of course, it started before I got here. But as I've evaluated it, one of the things that I've come to the conclusion of, it's hard to find a job or to be gainfully employed in a job if you don't have a place to live. I mean, how do you even apply for a job, go for a job interview, if you don't have a place to get ready, take a shower, comb your hair, put your best face on, and go for a job interview? So one of the things that I view the program as is it's that first step on the ladder of developing an individual. It's a first step that most of us take for granted who have a place to live. But for many people, and if you just travel even the neighborhoods in our area here at 316 South Blackwelder, you can see a lot of homeless people. We have a number of homeless folks in Oklahoma City. Unfortunately, a number of them are veterans. And after all that the veterans have done for us, they deserve to be treated better. And so that's how we view it. We want to give back to them who've given so much to us, and we're giving them a place to start. And for those of them that want to develop into an employment career, either with Goodwill or with other places, we help them with that as well.
Jim, what do you need from the general public? If someone is sympathetic to this cause, how could they help?
Yeah, well, I think the community knows well about giving donated goods, and people are very good about giving us high quality things that they're no longer using or they've outlived the purpose in their own home. We don't get very much junk. We get some, and certainly we would prefer not to receive people's discarded junk. But we need help even beyond that. And we're a United Way agency, so we're in United Way blackout right now. We can't make requests for financial support. But when that ends, the day after Thanksgiving, I really encourage people to consider financially supporting Goodwill. I've been doing some research on the history, and one of the things that Goodwill had financial struggles in the late 60s and early 70s was because we were trying to do it all by ourselves without community financial support. And that's just not the way nonprofits can work. We do generate a great deal of the money for our mission, but not all of it. And we could do so much more, and we could support the community so much better if people would consider us financially making a financial contribution. They can do that by going to our website, okgoodwill.org.
Yeah, Mick will give that website out again in the final segment of the show, and I appreciate that. Let me ask you about something I read in some of your materials about the Begin at Home program. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, I'm really proud of this idea. And again, it wasn't something that I started. It was in the ideation phase when I got here. But I said, this is such a great idea. We need to start it here. So what we have sometimes thought about at Goodwill is that we have retail and then we have mission. But I came to the realization very quickly after being here is that retail is part of our mission, a very big part of it. And we need to make sure that we're treating the folks in our employment extremely well. We have an employee first culture, and are we meeting their needs as well as the folks outside of Goodwill employment whose needs we're trying to help meet? So Begin at Home basically says to our employees, if you have a need outside of workspace or work time, maybe you're struggling with food insecurity, perhaps you don't have adequate housing, or you need some mental health counseling, we want to help you connect to those resources. We can't provide all those things ourselves. We're not adequate to do that, but we have collaborations in the Oklahoma City nonprofit community, and we can connect you with people that can help. Just a quick example, we had a lady that contacted us after we announced this program, and she said, you know, I've been an employee here, I'm a single mom, I have 4 kids, I'm living in a small apartment, it's kind of a dicey area, my kids can't even play outdoors safely. Is there anything you could do to help? And through collaboration with Catholic Charities, we were able to find this employee a house, a rent house with a backyard where the kids could play. She was able to get the first 3 months of rent paid, and she's got a whole different viewpoint of life. Now, do you think that person is going to be a better employee for Goodwill? Absolutely. And so we're helping her, which is the primary motivation of the Begin at Home program, but it ends up helping Goodwill as a business as well.
We're kind of, if you look at the calendar, we're in the holiday season right around the corner, and it's the time of year when a lot of people make their end of year gifts. You mentioned you're in a blackout period, but regardless, you know, it's a time to start thinking about how people can help others who've been less fortunate this year. And of course, with all we've been going through, it's a long list. But you know, I'm sure cash will be appreciated. I'm sure the items are appreciated. Anything else you'd like the general public to know about Goodwill and how they can help?
Yeah, we're always in the market for volunteers, people that might want to work, and it could even be in the stores, or it could be helping here at the corporate offices. So volunteers would be greatly appreciated. And I think the more people get to know Goodwill and get to know the breadth of services and the depth of services that we provide, the more they'll want to invest with us, donated goods, financially, and with their time.
Jim, can you just run down, I know you did it rather quickly in the first segment, but in the Oklahoma City area, where are your donation centers?
Yeah, the best way to find that out is to go to our website, okgoodwill.org. They are scattered really throughout the metro area and even out beyond that. We have stores, for example, in Guthrie. We don't have an attended donation center in Guthrie because every store has its own donation door. So if you find a Goodwill location, it's either going to be a store with a donation door, or it'll be a standalone attended donation center without the retail part. We don't do drop-off boxes. We no longer have trucks that go out to neighborhoods to pick up items. But people have been very good about visiting our stores.
I'm afraid that's going to have to be our last word. Thank you very much, Jim, for joining us today and educating our viewers about what you do at Goodwill and the wonderful things that the organization accomplishes. We will be having to take a break now. Best of luck to you, Jim. Come back again soon. But Mick and I will be back in just a couple of minutes. You're watching The Verdict.
It used to be okay in teachers' lounges. It used to be okay in maternity wards. It was okay in sporting arenas, college campuses, and office spaces. But now that we understand the deadly dangers of secondhand smoke, that's not okay anymore. So why is it okay that thousands of employees are exposed to it every day at work? Bottom line, it's not okay. Let's protect hardworking Oklahomans. Join the fight at stopswithme.com.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
I think for us, once we got started and we began to see the tremendous need just within our state, it really was just a calling for us. The blessings far outweigh any obstacles that we've faced.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
Back to The Verdict. Kent Meyers and Mick Cornett. Mick, Jim Priest's always a good guest, and he's always involved in good things, helping other people. What comments do you have?
Sorry, I was muted there for a second, Kent, but I was on Goodwill's website, and as Jim mentioned, I was amazed at how many donation centers they have around the metro area and also up in Tulsa and in Lawton. So the best way to find out those sites and more information about Goodwill is to go to their website, okgoodwill.org. That's okgoodwill.org. And of course, we have a website, theverdict.tv. You can log on and tell us about a guest you'd like to see on an upcoming edition of The Verdict.
That's going to do it for us. See you next week.